Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we are talking on this topic. Books are the basis, and Srila Prabhupada has always said purity is force, preaching is essence, and books are the basis. He said this. Srila Prabhupada said,
Recording in progress.
Srila Prabhupada said, if you want to know me, read my books. Srila Prabhupada also complained to his devotees that my devotees are not reading my books. He also said many times that if the devotees will not read my books, they will eat, sleep, and waste their time, and then fall down. Srila Prabhupada has written his letters to GBCs where he said, please take care, the main function of GBCs is to see that all devotees are reading Prabhupada books, my books. And Srila Prabhupada also said that devotees are distributing my books, that's very nice, but if they don't read my books, it will simply turn out to be a materialistic activity, simply selling books. So there are so many quotations of Srila Prabhupada, and we read in a very balanced view all these quotations. One thing is clear, that Srila Prabhupada wants us to read his books and understand them properly, apply them and realize them in our lives. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis. If we don't read Srila Prabhupada books, then what happens is we will become, as Srila Prabhupada said, we will become dull and unenthusiastic. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada in his books, he has given philosophy. And Sri Mahaprabhu says, if we understand philosophy, our mind becomes strong and we can resist the temptations of Maya. Without knowledge, we are weak, because if we don't have knowledge, then there will be many doubts haunting our mind, and many kind of maybe offensive thoughts, and then our bhakti creeper gets stifled and eventually fall down. Another thing, if we don't read Srila Prabhupada books, we might get confused, because one thing is that we are in an institution, ISKCON, and there are many devotees. There are many good devotees, there are many stupid devotees, I can say that. There are many useless devotees also. There are all kind of devotees. There are many hypocrites also, there are many diplomats also there. So, if we don't read Prabhupada books, we will be hearing to so many people. Everybody has their own opinions, and everybody says Srila Prabhupada said this. But if not read Prabhupada books, then you become confused. What to do then? How do you know that Srila Prabhupada said this or not? And if anybody has his own opinion, then why should we agree to their opinion? Because we must follow what Srila Prabhupada says. That's very clear. So, in order to follow Srila Prabhupada perfectly and dedicatedly, and in order to follow Srila Prabhupada as Srila Prabhupada wanted, we have to read his books, otherwise we will become confused. The internet platform, there are so many speakers speaking so many things, and of course there's a wealth of information, but then there's wealth of misinformation and disinformation also. There's a problem there. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis, whether on individual level, whether on institutional level. In order to protect our institution from getting deviated into wrong philosophies and wrong notions, we must know what Srila Prabhupada says. Otherwise, whole institutions become deviated in a different angle. And we know, we know today that many people who are reading Srila Prabhupada books outside ISKCON movement, when they come in ISKCON movement, they notice that devotees are not following Srila Prabhupada. They notice, and there's a scholar who had written a book, Inside Hare Krishna, some title I forgot. And he made a statement that it's unfortunate that in ISKCON devotees are not following Srila Prabhupada. He noticed this. And it's not a new thing. It's not, oh, this is happening. Well, this happened in Christianity. Saint Francis was completely frustrated. He said, you are not following Bible. Protestants, Martin Luther, and they had the same thing. They said Catholics that you are not following Christ. Hare Krishna. I'm having cold, sorry for that. So this happened. How was that?
Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'll just speak here. I'll keep it short. So even in other sampradayas, Sri Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, Mahaprabhu went to Udupi and he said, Tumi Tattvadi. He made a comment on them and he said, well, you are not following as Madhvacharya said. You are deviated. So this is happening here also. It can happen, and it's happening in an institution. So how to protect that? Books are the basis. We have to read Srila Prabhupada books. What he said, we must do it. So books are the basis at individual level, so that we advance in spirituality, we don't fall in doubts and confusions. At institutional level, so that institution doesn't get deviated into a wrong direction, entire institution gets deviated, and then they become upper sampradaya from sampradaya. And at world level, because Srila Prabhupada says, if you distribute my books, entire world can become Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, that's why Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis. Prabhupada said, when you preach, the success of preaching is that my books are distributed. Because people preach people, but if we give books, that's there for his whole life, and it can change his life. So at world level, at community level, Srila Prabhupada, these books are the basis is the line. And of course, books are the basis because books also give, it's Chaitanya Charitamrita, nectar of devotion. Srila Prabhupada said, books provide us wealth of information about Krishna, and it helps us to develop relishment and nourishment and higher taste in Krishna consciousness. So again, books are there to advance in Krishna consciousness at individual level and also at a group level. Devotees when they come together, what they're supposed to do? Read books, discuss that. So at group level, at community level, Vaishnava community level, again books are the basis. Otherwise, if people don't read books and they come together, devotees, then they'll chit chat and they will talk complete nonsense. So at all levels, individual, institutional, world level, Vaishnava community level, at all level, books are the basis. Books are the foundation of Krishna consciousness. Bhagavatam, Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's not Srila Prabhupada didn't say something new that books are the basis, but he reminded us, Ramanacharya, he reminded us the same thing, that you must read Acharya's books, otherwise you will not advance well. If you can't read, then you hear. That's one thing. ऐसे करना पड़ेगा ऊपर. Then you hear, just like we are hearing now. But make sure that we must always discuss, read Srila Prabhupada books. Books are the basis. Doesn't only mean reading. We should discuss Srila Prabhupada books. We should distribute Srila Prabhupada books. And we should follow Srila Prabhupada books. We should appreciate and praise Srila Prabhupada books. In that capacity, Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis. So, one thing is very important when Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis. Many devotees will argue that, well, I don't have time to read books. One argument is this, well, okay, I know books are the basis, but Indians don't have time to read books, or they are very lazy to read Srila Prabhupada books. That's second number argument. Oh, I don't find it reading so interesting. I can't read. I can't. Third point is devotee says I can't understand. It's so complex philosophy, so I get bored of. A fourth point, people say that many devotees who have left ISKCON and went to Gaudiya Math, they say, well, Prabhupada books are basis, but they are basics. Not only basis, but they are basics. So that's the whole problem there. But all these arguments are complete nonsense. I mean to say, as far as when devotee says we don't have time, well, where there is will, there is a way. Simple. It's not the question that you don't have time. The question is we don't take out time to read books. That's the question. Devotees say, well, philosophy is so complex, I can't understand. It's so boring, I feel boring while reading because I don't have reading habit. Well, if you read again and again, you will start understanding philosophy. It's with all subjects. Even in school we had to read history, chemistry, which was so boring subjects. But students who read it again and again, they got interest in that subject. We have to read. No child likes to read, but parents force the child, and he has to read the books, his subjects, and then he becomes an educated person. So we have to force ourselves to read, even if we don't have a habit of reading or we find reading boring. We have to force. Otherwise we don't become an advanced devotee. Just like if you don't force yourself to read normal subjects, you don't become educated. And this, some devotee says Prabhupada books are basics. There's no higher stuff in Prabhupada books. That's absolutely crap. They have not read Prabhupada books, people who say this. I mean to say, Prabhupada has Prabhupada books. Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's basics. Prabhupada has not changed any verse there. Prabhupada has given just English translation or whatever translation devotees have done. That's super specialization. It's not basics. It's right there. Prabhupada didn't say don't read Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's there. Prabhupada didn't say don't read Ante Leela. You can read Ante Leela. What is deeper than other than Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ante Leela? So Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. That's not basics. Prabhupada said that read my books. Read my books scrutinizingly. That's what Prabhupada said. Read my books scrutinizingly. Srila Prabhupada said that. Every verse scrutinizingly. Read my books like law books. That's also Srila Prabhupada said. So all these arguments are foolish arguments. And Prabhupada books have basics, but Prabhupada books also have depth. Prabhupada books are simple yet deep. Prabhupada books are very interesting provided you read it and develop a habit of reading. The purports are so relishable and so practical, by the way. Srila Prabhupada purports are so practical. Prabhupada is talking about petroleum banking system in Bhagavatam commentary, 10th canto. You might think, oh, you should talk about Krishna and Radha. Well, Prabhupada that is something ingenuity in Prabhupada's books. He has a different perspective of seeing things and applying the whole Bhagavatam practically. Prabhupada is talking about Varnashrama when Prabhupada is come to 10th canto. Prabhupada said Krishna lived with cows and he had farms. So we should live like that. That's the best life. First saw this. So Prabhupada, that's why Prabhupada, because Prabhupada books are practical, it's so relishable. So people who say all these things, it's boring, it's basics, they're foolish people. They don't understand what's Prabhupada books. They have not read Prabhupada books properly. They're simply speaking without reading, and that's why they're making these comments. Don't get confused by all these stupid comments. That's why I said books are the basis. They, even in an institution, they try to change Prabhupada books. That is quite interesting. Try to edit Prabhupada books and having to change some certain sentences. They want to delete certain sentences from Prabhupada books. It was happening long back. Now it's not there, but this happened at one point of time. They said, no, Prabhupada, some statements are very outrageous. We should delete them. Now that's the whole point. If we don't read Srila Prabhupada books, then we will come up with these weird theories and we will try to change Srila Prabhupada books, and that will destroy the whole movement. Because books are the basis, and basis and foundation should never change. The building can be destroyed and reconstructed, but the foundation should never change. If the foundation gets shaken, then the whole project is lost and you fail the project. So that is why Srila Prabhupada said, books are the basis. For books, Srila Prabhupada made BBT, which had a, in fact, for Prabhupada books was so important that BBT had a different legal system than whole institution of ISKCON. Even today, BBT is not part of ISKCON legally. BBT, although externally BBT is, but internally it has a different legal entity. Prabhupada said its fund should be different, its legal entity should be different. Even if an institution lands up and a temple lands up in big problems legally, at least BBT will not land up in problem. And we will continue distributing books. And until our books continue to distribute it, this movement will never be destroyed, even if temples are gone. Temples temples, they come and go. They are buildings, I mean to say. But books will never get destroyed. That is why Prabhupada's spiritual master, he said, whenever and if you get money, print books. That's how important Srila Prabhupada, in Prabhupada's mind, books were. Prabhupada also said when he was constructing Juhu temple, first BBT was there in Juhu temple, and he said in Juhu temple to Giriraj Maharaj that whatever funds you get, 50% should go for BBT. Straight away, no questions. For maintenance, if maintenance is, money is less, you earn more, you collect more. But 50% should go to BBT. That's how important for Prabhupada books were. So let's read Srila Prabhupada books and make others read Srila Prabhupada books as it is. Don't try to change them, don't try to edit them. Try to follow it, and gradually we'll realize books are the basis. Okay, Hare Krishna, I'll just stop here. It's difficult for me to talk. Anyway, any questions?